Often when reading the last 12 verses of Mark, which is Mark chapter 16 verses 9 through 20, there will be a footnote that says something like the earliest Greek manuscripts and some other ancient witnesses do not have Mark chapter 16 verses 9 through 20. Codex Vaticanus and Codex Sinaiticus, the two oldest Greek manuscripts from the 4th century, and some other authorities omit from verse 9 to 20. As a result, many modern readers are inclined to assume that these verses do not belong. However, the present number of Greek manuscripts, whole and partial, that attest to the New Testament stands at an unprecedented 5,748 as of 2005. Mark chapter 16 verses 9 through 20 is found in 99% of these Greek manuscripts. Apart from a few fragments, our oldest manuscripts are of the 4th century, but the writings of 100 or more writers of a much earlier period are available to testify to the contents of copies of the New Testament, much earlier than any Greek manuscripts we now possess. From the 2nd century, Irenaeus, who died in 202 AD, quotes and comments on verse 19 in 180 AD. Justin Martyr in 151 AD quotes the last verse within 50 years of the death of the last apostle. Tatian, the disciple of Justin Martyr, included the verses in his Greek diatessaron, having come down to us in Arabic, Italian, and Old Dutch editions in 170 AD. Hippolytus quotes verses 17 and 18 in the period 190 to 227 AD. 3rd century witnesses include Tertullian, who died after 220 AD, in his work on the resurrection of the flesh against Praxeas, and a treatise on the soul. Cyprian, who died in 258 AD, alluded to verses 17 through 18 at the 7th Council of Carthage. Vincentius quoted verses 17 and 18 at the 7th Council of Carthage in 256 AD in the presence of 87 African bishops. All 7 of these 2nd and 3rd century witnesses precede the earliest existing Greek manuscripts that verified the genuineness of the verses. More to the point, they predate both Vaticanus and Sinaiticus, and it was recognized as canonical. However, looking a bit deeper, it appears that God put a special authentication in place. When examining these verses in Greek, we find this authenticity initially found by Dr. Ivan Panin. The number of words is 175, the unique words are 98, words that are repeated are 77, the number of letters is 553, the number of vowels is 294, the number of consonants is 259, and the number of words found elsewhere in Mark is 84, all multiples of 7. The words unique to this chapter are 14, words used in the Lord's Address are 42, words not used in the Lord's Address are 56, words in verse 9 through 11 are 35, words in verse 12 through 18 is 105, words in verse 12 are 14, words in verse 13 through 15 are 35, words in verse 16 through 18 is 56, and words in verse 19 through 20 is 35, all multiples of 7. When it comes to the numerical value of letters and words, it's a process called gematria, and Hebrew and Greek are the only 2 languages on earth that uses this system for counting. Basically, how it works is that each letter from both the Hebrew and Greek alphabets has its own numerical values. Let's take a look at some of the numerical values on the last 12 verses of Mark. The numerical value of words is 103,663. The numerical value of verse 9 is 11,795. The numerical value of verse 10 is 5,418. The numerical value of verse 11 is 11,795. The numerical value of verse 9 through 11 is 17,213. The numerical value of the first word is 98. The numerical value of the middle word is 4,529. The numerical value of the last word is 791. And the numerical value of verse 12 through 20 is 86,450, all multiples of 7. The words from the last 12 verses of Mark that are found later in the New Testament are 7. Number of occurrences of these words are 35. The numerical value of these words is 8,246. The total number of word forms is 133. The numerical value of those forms is 89,663. The word forms that occur only once are 112. Forms that occur more than once are 21. And the number of times these words occur are 63. And the numerical value of the word deadly, which is only found here in these 12 verses of Mark, is 581. That seems like a lot of sevens to be coincidence. As a matter of fact, the ancient rabbis said there's no such thing as coincidence.